The flowers let us know that the summer was winding up as their life cycle began doing so with it. I savoured their presence for as long as possible. After watching it for ages, I thought this blue-banded bee, a native one, was dead, and felt a little sad. Just after I turned the camera off though, it woke and flew off. I think it had just been drunk on pollen, or at least having a little nap, bless it. One day, while admiring the remaining floral beauty in the garden, I decided that if all world leaders were required to spend some time meditating on flowers, then perhaps the world would evolve into a much different place. How can we not be living in awe and reverence when there is so much natural beauty gifted to us? The last of the annual flowers to finish their season were these red zinnias, a bright and perfect farewell to the hot season for another year. Now all the gardens are mulched for winter. We have replaced a lot of this summer garden with all the flower bulbs I had in pots. There are at least 100 of various kinds planted here randomly. I'm not really one to plant in perfect rows, nor is nature though. I look forward to the colour explosion in its time. In the meantime, the camellias are now in season with their bloom. The cockatoos have stayed away, so I've been able to watch their colour offering against the dry canvas. Whatever the season and the changes it brings, nature reminds me that it's still a beautiful world, that hope is a powerful thing, and that we have individual control over whether to focus on all the negative noise or the wisdom and nurturing from Mama Earth. It's always a choice. Autumn and winter are good seasons for growing food, so there has been quite a bit going on there. We even found and enjoyed some potatoes that had grown on their own after the last harvest. I've been making more of an effort not to go to town as often, inspired by the fuel shortage in Australia, but also just not wanting to go to town. So I've got snow peas and Brussels sprouts and snap peas, asparagus and potato in these two beds here. And just trying to be more mindful in my learning about food growing rather than just stumbling my way through and making too many unnecessary mistakes. Yeah, I'm enjoying it. In this bed I have cauliflower and some other leafy greens. And the raspberry plant still. I'm so amazed, constantly amazed by seeds. And to think that these plants here are going to grow into massive cauliflowers, and they started as like the tiniest dot of a thing.
I love seeds. You've heard me talk about it before. I just find such wonder in them. Anyway, this is my cauliflower starting off. The Asian greens always do really well for me. We also have fennel and onion and kale and carrots. We did have the ginger here and pulled up the first crop very recently. And ginger is my favourite food on the planet, and it was my first crop, so it was really exciting. So exciting. Because ginger is my favourite food on the planet, and I have it fresh in my chai every day, I cook with it a lot. Whenever I get fresh ginger, I just get it grated up and put into little containers and put it in the freezer, and then just take out one and use that at a time. So to have a crop like this massive one that we've just harvested is just it's so exciting. It's heaven sent. I just feel, I don't know, I feel safer. I feel safe when I've got all the foods that support my body well, including leafy greens. I don't know if you can hear the noise out the back. I've got a couple of guys working here today helping me with some stuff. Anyway.
I was on the phone outside the house, chatting with a mate, when I spotted this amazing creature up on the hill. I've seen a few eagles, but none pondering for long enough that I could film it. A majestic creature, but a predator all the same in the hierarchy of life. The lack of rain was a long experience. It's interesting how often we do full circles in our lives, whether consciously or not. I spent my teenage years longing for rain due to how severely drought restricted everything in family life on the farm. I chased the rain for years after that, living in the tropics a couple of times and doing a number of stints in the subtropics. Yet the big sky called me back to this region, and I found myself longing for rain all over again. With the lack of rain, meaning lack of grass to eat, the wildlife was much sparser. I did spot this deer down behind the house one day, determined to leave its mark on the lower reaches of the tree we call the koala tree, because that's where we saw the koala. On this day, though, it was just the deer. The koala hasn't returned, or if it has, it's done so with stealth. It's not just the lack of rain that has kept the wildlife away. It's also my surrounding trigger-happy neighbourhood. The cattle farmers who hire shooters to kill the kangaroos, just because they eat grass, as kangaroos do. To be honest, they don't eat much, and they certainly don't damage the ecosystem like the farmers' cattle do. The kangaroos are an actual part of this native ecosystem. As a former cattle farmer's daughter, I've heard all the justifications for shooting roos too often in life. But as a lover of all animals, and one who doesn't eat them, I'm also a wildlife protector. So it's been hard to find my equanimity at times, living surrounded by others with such conflicting values. The wildlife is safe here on my land at least, and we all try to exist being surrounded by the folks who thrive on killing. I hate it, to be honest. If there is one thing that ever makes me consider selling up, it's how much the shooting affects my nervous system and peace, and how it leaves me feeling like I am culturally mismatched for the area. Of course, this also breaks my heart somewhat, since there is so much that I absolutely love about this place being my home, sharing it with the wildlife I want to protect but can't. On to a brighter note, it did finally rain. We'd only had about 1 hour of rain in the previous 2 months, but then 2 glorious days of solid rain fell upon us, dropping over an inch into the gauge. A week later, rain fell for another couple of days. It made such a difference. Everyone in the region seemed lighter in spirit in the days following. I am in love with water, the divine life force that it is. Even the roos were back in abundance straight after it fell. About a week later, it rained again. There's even a slight water view at Lake Dreamaroo from the house again. Touches of green have sprouted, and I've been reminded of just how nurturing that colour is for our soul. Of course, the frosts will kill it off again quickly, but it brought hope after such a barren time for all life out here. It's a constant reminder that even when life can feel desolate or emotionally exhausting, as drought leaves me feeling, change is always coming. When living in the present feels hard, hope can be a powerful antidote. I love my home, especially during these months. I love that the words home, cosy and snug fit together in the same sentence so well when describing my little place. Winter is upon us now, but autumn was also magical, once again bringing the misty mornings our way. It leaves me feeling like my place can only be accessed through a secret portal and the rest of the world is in a whole other sphere. As I've often said throughout my career, when the fog lifts, sunshine follows. So the autumn days were perfect. That season is always good for my soul. So is this one, winter. While we haven't had as many frosts yet as usual, one did turn up last month, leaving patterns on the outside table. The frost also left its mark on the bird bath, freezing the surface. My daughter, Eleanor, has adopted my own love of macro photography, even winning some local competitions with her work. So initially, it was just her activities that the camera picked up, since the bird bath is much quieter in the cooler weather. Eventually, the rosellas arrived, walking upon the surface to access the water underneath. As the day wore on and the water melted, it was more rosellas. All day, it was rosellas. While there are still magpies about, and the kookaburras laughing in distant trees, I think most of the other birds have flown to warmer climates. At least the rosellas keep the place bright and colourful, bless them. While Lake Dreamaroo did dry to almost a puddle before the rain, it continued to provide for the wildlife. This is a wallaby at the front and a wallaroo couple at the back. The wallaroo males are darker than the eastern grey male kangaroos. Because of the dry, both roos and deer had ventured onto the island, and something ate the top off the casuarina tree we'd planted. But it's a survivor, somehow managing through not much watering when Eleanor couldn't get up and down safely. So we've had steps put into the island and a guard around the tree. The native grasses we planted there are also doing well. There's still a way to go to fill it with more water, but we appreciate any rain at all out here. Every drop is precious. Water is such a sacred life force. The gradual tidying up of all the fallen branches from the snow event last year and of the cleared portion of land in general has been underway. It helps to keep it cleared so some of it can be slashed when it does actually rain to reduce bushfire risk. There are 5 piles to burn off during these cooler months when fires are permitted, which I'll get some help with soon. I leave any hollowed logs for smaller wildlife habitat, and I'm not touching the bushland at all. Nature knows what to do there. There are also sections of the cleared land along the boundaries that I'm leaving to regenerate. It's encouraging how much it has already come back in the 4 years since I bought the land. With all the tidying up, it means my wood supply is healthy for this season and the next. In this strange era of humanity, it leaves me feeling grateful to have my own electricity and heat sources, even though living here also means that every drop of water is more precious. But when I see all this wood already cut and ready for whatever weather the remainder of winter sends our way, I do experience a sense of abundance. It's a cosy time with blessings that don't go unnoticed.
Just a brief chat before I finish with a little bit more beauty from my surrounds. Over on my other channel in an earlier episode, over on my main channel, in an earlier episode of the vlog, I tried to do monthly vlogs and had to admit that I couldn't keep it up. And then when I moved the vlog over to this new channel of its own, and I'm glad I did, it feels clearer for the vlog and for my energy around it. But I felt like I'd created enough space to be able to maintain monthly vlogs, but I can't. So I'm just here to say I'll be here when I can. There's a lot going on in life, and I just learned that life is fluid, and the more rigid we try and keep it, the more we sort of block ourselves to where life wants to call us and how things are to unfold. But either way, I am so absorbed in the release of my debut novel, in preparing for that at the moment, that between that and just loving family life with my 14-year-old daughter and knowing that time with her is speeding up so quickly, I just find that I can't do the vlog on a monthly basis. So the debut novel is called Kookaburra. It will be out on the 9th of September. I was offered a traditional publishing deal for this book, but I decided to self-publish, and I will be writing an article over on Substack where I do a monthly newsletter. I will be writing an article over there as to what shaped that decision. So what it means though is there's more costs up front and certainly more time and effort. But for me, everything about Kookaburra has been a process of joy and freedom, and I'm really loving the work I'm doing around its release, working with an amazing narrator, a fantastic cover designer, and just getting all the steps in place. There are so many things to do when you self-publish if you want to do it right, if you want to support your work to its fullest capacity. So that's where I'm at the moment, but even still I do find that maintaining the monthly vlog is just not possible. So I will be back when I can be, and I will be here whenever I can be. And so please subscribe, because at least then you'll know when a new episode arrives. And in the meantime, thanks for the time shared in this episode, and I'll finish off with a little bit more beauty from this special sanctuary that I get to call home. I'm so grateful, and for you, for this time shared.
A neighbour took us on a tour of the area, where I got to see my place from a distant hill of wilderness. I don't forget how beautiful my little patch of paradise is, but it was still good to get that reminder. There has been an abundant return of wildlife to my acres, and as you can imagine, this has lifted my heart immensely. I spot many heavy pouches where joeys rest, sometimes just leaving out their tails. Occasionally I'm blessed to spot a sweet little face having a look around. Either way, I'm in a happy place. When I can sit working on my computer and look out the window at kangaroos eating nearby, it makes me smile. At this time of year, when their presence is not limited to only dawn and dusk as it is in summer, I can look out at any time and spot one or two eating. And when I arrive home and see them all over the place, it's a pretty fine welcome, even if the roos and deer disperse quickly. The wallabies aren't worried about me at all. I also spotted an echidna from the car. Sweet thing. Once it heard the dogs barking from the car, though, it was time to curl up and hide into itself. The cold weather hasn't scared off all the critters. This spider greeted us outside on our front door one crisp morning. It's harmless and moved on when it was ready. Nature is so amazing in its diversity. Go gently out there, friends. The world is still a beautiful place.